For centuries, the land known as Palestine has been a crossroads of civilizations, faiths, and empires. Nestled between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River, it has witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms, the spread of religions, and the ambitions of global powers. But in the 20th century, this ancient land became the epicenter of one of the most enduring and painful conflicts in modern history, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. At the heart of this story is the displacement of millions of Palestinians, a tragedy that continues to shape lives, politics, and global discourse to this day. Before the 20th century, Palestine was part of the Ottoman Empire for over 400 years. Its population was predominantly Arab Muslims, with Christian and Jewish minorities living side by side. The communities were largely agrarian, and while tensions existed, they were not defined by the kind of nationalistic divisions that would later emerge. But everything began to change in the early 1900s, as European powers eyed the Middle East for strategic control and Zionist movements seeking a homeland for Jews facing persecution in Europe began to focus on Palestine. In 1917, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. At the time, Jews made up less than 10% of the population. After World War I, Britain took control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. Over the next few decades, waves of Jewish immigration fueled by European anti-Semitism and later the horrors of the Holocaust dramatically altered the demographic and political landscape. Tensions between Jewish and Arab communities escalated, with both sides experiencing violence, fear, and growing mistrust. By the 1940s, the situation had reached a boiling point. Britain, unable to manage the conflict, handed the issue over to the newly formed United Nations. In 1947, the UN proposed a partition plan to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international control. Jewish leaders accepted the plan, but Arab leaders rejected it, arguing that it violated the rights of the indigenous Arab population and favored the newcomers. The plan was never implemented peacefully. On May 14, 1948, the State of Israel declared independence. The next day, neighboring Arab countries launched a military intervention, marking the beginning of the First Arab-Israeli War. But for Palestinians, 1948 is remembered not just as the birth of Israel, but as the Nakba, or catastrophe. During the war, over 700,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled from their homes. Entire villages were destroyed or depopulated. Families were separated, communities erased, and a refugee crisis was born that remains unresolved to this day. The displacement wasn't just collateral damage of war. In many cases, it was systematic. Historical records and testimonies reveal that Israeli forces carried out operations designed to empty Arab towns and prevent the return of refugees. Some left in fear of violence, others were forcibly removed. The newly formed Israeli state refused to allow them back, citing security concerns and demographic goals. Meanwhile, the refugees found themselves in camps in Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, the West Bank, and Gaza, often in dire conditions, with no citizenship, no compensation, and no right of return. In response to the crisis, the United Nations established UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, to provide aid to Palestinian refugees. Today, over 5.9 million Palestinians are registered with it, and many still living in refugee camps across the region. The right of return remains one of the most contentious issues in peace negotiations. For Palestinians, it's a matter of justice and identity. For many Israelis, it's seen as a threat to the Jewish character of the state. The displacement didn't end in 1948. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and other territories. This led to another wave of Palestinian displacement and the beginning of a military occupation that continues to this day. Settlements were built, checkpoints established, and movement restricted. Palestinians in the occupied territories live under a complex system of control, often facing home demolitions, land confiscation, and limited access to resources. Over the decades, attempts at peace have come and gone. The Oslo Accords in the 1990s offered hope for a two-state solution, but the process stalled amid violence, political shifts, and deep mistrust. Meanwhile, the situation in Gaza, controlled by Hamas since 2007, has deteriorated into repeated cycles of war and blockade. Civilians bear the brunt, with thousands killed, infrastructure destroyed, and humanitarian conditions worsening. Today, the legacy of displacement is woven into every aspect of Palestinian life. It's in the stories passed down through generations, the keys to homes that no longer exist, the maps of villages erased from the landscape. It's in the poetry, the art, the resistance, and the longing. For many Palestinians, the Nakba is not just a historical event, it's an ongoing reality. And for the world, it's a reminder of the human cost of unresolved conflict. Understanding this history is essential. It's not about taking sides. It's about recognizing the pain, the complexity, and the humanity of those affected. The story of Palestine is not just a regional issue. It's a global one. It challenges us to think about justice, identity, and the meaning of home. It asks us to listen, to learn, and to remember. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment your support and your knowledge for Palestine. And if you want to dive deeper into global history, human rights, or untold stories like this one, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What part of this history stood out to you? Do you have personal stories or perspectives you'd like to share? Let's keep the conversation going respectfully, thoughtfully, and with empathy. Make sure you watch my previous videos. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.